The envelope was already in my hand before I realized the doorbell had rung, a thick cream rectangle that felt heavier than paper should, the kind of weight that settles in your palm and refuses to leave. My name, Daniel, was written across the front in ink so black it looked wet, the handwriting sharp and unfamiliar, like someone had pressed the pen too hard out of anger or precision. I flipped it over. No return address. Just a wax seal, crimson, cracked down the middle as if it had been pried open and resealed in a hurry. Sarah was still upstairs, humming in the shower, the water drumming against tile in that off-key way she did when she thought no one was listening. I should have waited. Instead I tore it open right there in the foyer, the paper ripping like skin. Inside, a single Polaroid and a note folded so small it could have been a postage stamp. The photo hit the floor first, face down, thank God, because my fingers went numb the second I recognized the bed. Our bed. The duvet with the tiny coffee stain near the pillow that Sarah always joked was shaped like Australia. But the bodies tangled in it weren't ours. One of them was hers. The other was Mark, her boss, shirtless, mouth on her neck, her fingers digging into his back like she was trying to climb inside him. The note fluttered after the photo, landing on my shoe. Pack a bag, 24 hours. That's all the mercy you get. The shower shut off. I heard the creak of the bathroom door, the soft pad of her feet on the runner. I couldn't move. My lungs forgot their job. She appeared at the top of the stairs in my old Penn State t-shirt, hair dripping, smiling like any other Tuesday. "Hey, babe, did the mail come early?" Her voice cracked on the last word, eyes flicking to the torn envelope, the photo on the rug. The smile died so completely it was like someone yanked a plug. "Daniel, don't." The words scraped out of me, raw as gravel. I bent, slow, knees cracking, and picked up the picture. Held it between us like evidence in a trial neither of us had agreed to attend. "Explain." She came down one step. Stopped halfway, gripping the banister so hard her knuckles blanched. "It's not what." "Stop." I laughed, and it sounded insane even to me. "You're naked. He's inside you. I can see the mole on your hip, Sarah. The one I kiss every birthday because you hate it. Don't you dare tell me it's not what it looks like." Her face folded in on itself. Not tears yet, just this crumpling, like wet paper. "I was going to tell you." "When?" I was shouting now, voice ricocheting off the vaulted ceiling we'd painted together the summer Leo was born. "After the next promotion. After he bought you the house in Vale you keep circling on Zillow." She flinched. "You went through my phone?" "No. Your boss did me the courtesy of a glossy 4x6. I flicked the photo, it spun in the air and landed face up between us. Sarah stared at it like it was a corpse. "How long?" A tear finally escaped, sliding over the freckle on her cheek I used to call her Cinnamon. 4 months. 4 months. While I was teaching Leo to ride without training wheels. While I burned lasagna because I was helping her rehearse for the Tokyo pitch. While I folded her stupid cashmere sweaters into neat squares because the dry cleaner lost one and she cried for an hour. 4 months of her coming home late, smelling like cedar and someone else's ambition. I backed into the console table, knocking over the bowl where we kept keys and ticket stubs and the tiny plastic dinosaur Leo insisted lived there. Everything scattered. "Was it the trip to Denver?" My voice cracked. "When you said the hotel lost your reservation and you had to share with Mark?" She nodded, barely. "And the night you came home with your blouse inside out? They spilled Merlot?" Another nod. I pressed the heels of my hands into my eyes until I saw stars. "I asked you if something was wrong. You said work stress. You let me hold you while you cried about quarterly reports." I dropped my hands. "You let me make love to you the next morning. Do you remember? You whispered my name like it still meant something." "It did," she choked. "It does." "Bullshit." The word exploded out of me. I grabbed the envelope, crumpled it, then smoothed it again because I needed something to do with my hands that wasn't wrapping them around the throat of every promise we'd ever made. The note says 24 hours. Is that his idea of generous? A head start before he, moves in? Starts signing Leo's permission slips. Sarah's knees buckled. She sat hard on the stairs, forehead against the balusters. He's married, Dan. It was a mistake. A stupid, selfish mistake. I laughed again, and it hurt my ribs. You don't mistake someone into your body for 4 months. You don't mistake moaning his name in our sheets. She looked up, mascara bleeding into the hollows under her eyes. I was drowning. The promotion, the hours, feeling like I was disappearing into motherhood and mortgage payments. He saw me. Really saw me. I saw you, I whispered. Every day. I saw you fall asleep reading Goodnight Moon with your mouth open. I saw you dance in the kitchen to that awful Ed Sheeran song. I saw you puke in the rosebushes after Leo's first birthday cake. Where was I not looking? She had no answer. Just shaking shoulders and the kind of silence that fills a house until it bursts. I left her there on the stairs and went to the bedroom. The bed was made, hospital corners, because Sarah was anal about that. I could still smell her coconut shampoo on the pillows. I opened the closet. Her side was color-coded, blazers marching like soldiers. Mine was a landslide of hoodies and guilt. I pulled out the old Navy duffel we'd taken on our honeymoon, St. Lucia, where she'd gotten food poisoning and I'd held her hair back while she swore she'd never eat conch again. I started throwing things in. Socks. The photo of Leo from last Halloween, Spider-Man mask crooked. The t-shirt she wore when she told me she was pregnant, paint stained from the nursery walls. Downstairs, the front door opened and closed. I thought she'd left. Then I heard Leo's voice, small and confused. Mommy, why are you crying on the stairs? I froze, one hand on my toothbrush. Sarah's reply was muffled, thick with snot. Mommy's sad, baby. Go play in the yard, okay? I'll make grilled cheese in a minute. His sneakers squeaked away. I zipped the bag. When I came down, she was standing, arms wrapped around herself like she might fly apart. Leo was already outside, kicking his soccer ball against the fence with that rhythmic thunk-thunk that used to lull me to sleep on summer nights. I'm taking the guest room at Jake's, I said. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. I'll pick Leo up from school tomorrow. We'll figure out custody, I guess. The word tasted like rust. Dan, she reached for me. I stepped back so fast I hit the wall. Please. We can fix this. Therapy. I'll quit. You don't get to decide what's fixable. I looked at her, at the woman I'd loved since she spilled coffee on my shoes at that awful networking event 12 years ago, and felt something inside me calcify. You already chose. She followed me to the door. The envelope. Did Mark come here? Courier, I said. Guess he didn't have the balls to watch me open it. Outside, the October air bit my cheeks. Leo waved from the grass, gap-toothed and oblivious. I waved back, throat closing. Sarah stood in the doorway, barefoot, clutching the frame. I love you, she called, voice breaking on every syllable. I slung the duffel over my shoulder. The Polaroid was in my pocket, edges digging into my thigh like a splinter. I didn't look back. Couldn't. Because if I did, I might have seen the girl who used to steal my fries and promise me forever, and I wasn't strong enough to lose her twice in one day. At Jake's, I sat on the pull-out couch that smelled like old pizza and stared at the photo under the lamp. Mark's wedding ring glinted on the nightstand in the background, our nightstand. I flipped it over and wrote on the white border in Sharpie, 24 hours starts now. Then I took a picture with my phone and texted it to the number on the courier's receipt. No message. Just the image. My phone buzzed almost instantly. Unknown number. You have no idea what you just started. I turned it off. Curled on the lumpy mattress, fully clothed, shoes still on, and cried like a man who'd just watched his future burn down with the house still inside it. Somewhere around 3 a.m., I realized the worst part wasn't the sex. It was that she'd let me keep loving a version of her that no longer existed. That was the real betrayal, the slow, meticulous murder of the man who'd trusted her with every fragile piece of himself. The next morning, Jake made coffee strong enough to strip paint. He didn't ask questions, just slid a mug across the counter and said, "Whatever you need, brother." I nodded, throat raw. Outside, the sky was the color of wet cement. I thought about Leo's gap-toothed grin, about Sarah's cinnamon freckle, about the way trust, once shattered, leaves shards too small to glue back together. I drank the coffee black. It tasted like the rest of my life. Love isn't the promises we make, it's the ones we're willing to keep when no one's watching.